Two different couples with marriage problems invite a third person into their lives, leading to tragic consequences. In an apartment building in Skopje, Macedonia, a successful woman named Eva lives on the top floor. While on the balcony, she smokes while texting her friends. When she's done, she throws her cig into the courtyard, nearly hitting her neighbor Danche, who curses at her for the disrespectful gesture. Danche then enters her apartment, which is located on the bottom floor. Stressed from work, she initiates a romantic moment with her husband, Caramba, who only rejects her advances due to her foul smell. Offended, the woman heads to the shower to wash up. That evening, Eva and her pharmacist husband Metodi have dinner with their friends Joachim and Talia, a couple who recently welcomed a baby. Near the kitchen counter, Joachim expresses his opinion that women should invest in themselves in their 20s so they can still look good in their 30s. Hearing this, his wife Talia interjects, saying that her chest enhancement didn't affect her breastfeeding. When Talia asks Eva when she'll have a baby, the childless woman expresses that she's scared of the physical changes that'll happen to her once she gets pregnant. Talia then offers to give her the number of her doctor, but Eva responds by telling a story that made her sad recently. She shares that she encountered a gypsy mother nursing a baby who came over to wash her windshield, unaware that her milk is overflowing. Eva then starts laughing, prompting Talia to think that she was just joking. Following this, Joachim gets irritated upon learning that Metodi bought the wrong liquor. Despite the man explaining that his wife chose the brand, the disappointed guest heads to the balcony and throws the bottle. After their guests leave, Metodi invites his wife to spend a romantic time. He carries her to their bedroom to resume their moment. While enjoying her husband's kisses, Eva hears a cry nearby, leading the couple to discover that Joachim and Talia accidentally forgot their baby. As they stare at the infant, Eva apologizes to Metodi for not wanting to give him a child. Meanwhile, after showering, Danche reminds the sleeping Caramba that she took the day shift so they can go to his sister's later for name day. After she leaves, Caramba suddenly awakens, realizing that he's late for work. He then wears his bank security guard uniform and practices in front of the mirror, pointing his handgun. After work, he passes by the market, simply glancing at the attractive vendor, Violetka. When he passes by her stand, the woman calls his attention, informing him that she has K-Mac. She flirtatiously invites him to taste it, and he does her request, leading him to buy some. Before entering his apartment, the security guard feeds the K-Mac to the dog. When he sees the empty liquor bottle on the floor, he drinks what's left and takes it to the apartment. Meanwhile, in Eva's hometown, an uneducated woman named Dosta is playing with water when an older man greets her, prompting her to respond by flashing her body. On her way to work that morning, Eva watches the news on her device, learning about a poor couple with a 5-month-old baby whose power had been cut off. When the interviewer asks the woman how she deals with poverty, she explains that she receives help from neighbors, family, and godparents. Meanwhile, Danche, who works at a meat pie bakery, calls Caramba during her break, reminding him to buy cabbage for dinner. Her husband then promises to get it along with the bathrobe she requested. After his shift, the security guard encounters Violetka, who's now selling snorkeling masks in a different spot. She engages in a conversation with him, mentioning that her mother has taken over the K-Mac stand for her and that cheese pairs well with brandy. Caramba silently takes note of the information and buys a snorkeling mask. Afterward, he gives Violetka the bathrobe he was meant to give his wife. Meanwhile, Metodi and Eva visit their couples therapist. When the professional brings up Metodi's desire to have children, Eva explains that she faints at the sight of a pregnant woman. She adds that she doesn't want a child growing inside her because it would ruin her body. Despite Metodi's assurance that he'll still love her despite the changes, Eva just stands up and faces him with tears in her eyes. Meanwhile, to impress Violetka, Caramba tries to make his own brandy. The next morning, he visits the vendor stand to inform her about it. Hearing this, Violetka calls her mom to replace her so she can leave with a security guard and taste his creation. But when Caramba brings her to the apartment, they end up having a romantic moment. Later that day, Caramba contacts his daughter from his first marriage, Samantha, on Skype. Suddenly, Danche asks her husband to make her coffee so she can speak with her stepdaughter privately. Samantha, who's been dating an American, opens up that she can't stand the man anymore because he wants them to get married first before sleeping together. In response, Danche advises her to keep holding on because that's the only way for her to get a green card. Meanwhile, Eva drives to her hometown to visit her grandmother, Anatka, who, along with their other relatives, expresses pride in her granddaughter's success and television appearances. Just then, Uncle Bogdan arrives, inviting them to eat with the godfather. During their meal, Eva meets the goddaughter, Dosta, who tries to kiss her hand but ends up running back to the house because of extreme shyness. On her her way back to the car, Eva asks her uncle if Dosta's condition is hereditary. He recounts his godmother's difficult pregnancy with Dosta, explaining that when Dosta was born, she didn't breathe for 2 minutes and had to be placed in an incubator. The doctor also mentioned that Dosta would have developmental issues and offered the option to turn off the incubator. However, the godmother chose to wait for the godfather's decision. The next day, the godfather arrived and was surprised to find Dosta alive and moving, which he considered a miracle. Meanwhile, Violetka spends romantic time with Caramba in the apartment. During his shift the next morning at the bank, Caramba notices her neighbor Eva checking out Talia's chest enhancement. Later, he arrives home. When his wife looks for the bathrobe, he offers her K-Mac instead, prompting her to notice that he buys it every single day. Meanwhile, Bogdan takes Dosta to Eva's place. During dinner, he gives the goddaughter's test results to her niece, who gives him money in exchange. The next morning, Eva is startled upon seeing his uncle in the living room. He then tells her goodbye, and before he leaves, he reminds her that Dosta is still a child. Later, the wealthy couple asks Dosta to stay in their future child's room. After that, Metodi shows her the bathroom, reminding her that she can shower whenever she wants. Meanwhile, Eva unpacks the goddaughter's luggage, informing her that she can put everything in the wardrobe. However, the teenager strangely takes the towel and starts cleaning the mirror. Seeing this, Metodi quickly takes the towel and reminds her that they have a cleaning lady for that task. However, Dosta insists on cleaning using her own clothes. Later, Dosta looks out from the balcony and sees Caramba below, preparing his K-Mac and brandy. Returning inside the apartment, the excited man shares his creation to Danche, but she just ignores him and wipes the window. Later, in the middle of her cleaning, she discovers cabbages and a woman's lipstick under the bed. Instead of confronting her husband, she keeps it inside her tank top. After doing the laundry, Danche goes outside to hang the clothes. Meanwhile, Dosta cleans the glass barrier on the balcony. Soon, Eva interrupts to offer tea, prompting Dosta to walk to the kitchen to get a tablespoon of sugar. When Eva asks Dosta what she wants in life, the teenager reveals that she wants a TV and a baby to nurse. Hearing this, the childless woman smiles, informing her that she'll schedule an appointment with a hairdresser. While Eva combs the teenager's hair, she throws a cig into the area where Danche is hanging her clothes. When the annoyed woman curses at them, Dosta laughingly pours her tea on her. Eva then chuckles and supports this, prompting the goddaughter to do it one more time. Before Danche leaves, she threatens them, stating that what goes up comes down. Following her rude behavior, Dosta hugs Eva, showing that she's finally comfortable with her. Returning inside the apartment, the irritated Danche takes out her anger on Caramba by refusing to help him with his woodwork. Meanwhile, Metodi talks to his brother Kirill, who suggests they should get their mother a therapist. However, Metodi corrects him, saying that what their mom needs is a man. Nearby, Dosta listens to their conversation. Suddenly, they're interrupted by the arrival of the food delivery. After Eva receives the sushi, she grabs her lipstick and applies it to Dosta's lips to enhance her look. The next day, Danche arrives home and catches her husband spending a romantic time with Violetka. In her rage, she hits Caramba on the head with a wooden shelf, causing him to lose consciousness. Later, noticing that her spouse isn't responding, Danche tries to wake him up with Violetka's help. After helping Caramba sit up, the women realize his wound isn't serious. Once relieved, Danche turns to Violetka and slaps her for sleeping with her husband. However, the vendor responds by kissing the wife, who finds herself reciprocating the gesture. That evening, Eva invites Dosta to use the bathtub for the first time. As the teenager enjoys the experience, the older woman gives her a glass of wine. While rubbing the goddaughter's back, Eva asks her to sing. Dosta then complies and does it beautifully, which Metodi hears from the bedroom. Following this, Eva prepares the teenager and shows her to Metodi so they can conceive. Meanwhile, Caramba, Danche, and Violetka all spend a romantic moment together. Months later, Metodi arrives from the market, witnessing Eva teaching the impregnated Dosta basic math. Before lunch, Eva starts complaining that she's fed up with being locked at home for months to make others believe she's pregnant. When she invites Dosta to eat with them on the table, the moody teenager takes her food and brings it to the couch so she can watch TV while eating. Later that afternoon, Metodi, Eva, and Dosta pass by Caramba, Danche, and Violetka on the street, but it all turns out to be Dosta's dream. Awakening from pain, the pregnant teenager cries. Eva then rushes to her, urging her to make a wish because it's the baby's first movement. In response, the moody Dosta keeps saying no, and she ends up sleeping in between the couple. The following day, an exhausted Danche returns home from the market with a headache. Concerned, Violetka then gives her meds. After taking the tablet, Danche notices that Violetka is wearing the necklace her mother gave her. Despite being told it looks good on her, the woman immediately removes the necklace, thinking that she's being disrespectful. Following this, Danche asks what Violetka is cooking. When the woman reveals that she is cooking cabbage, the exhausted lady suddenly gets irritated because she's cooking in the wrong pot. Despite Violetka apologizing and offering to clean everything, Danche takes over, ranting how everybody makes a mess. In response, Violetka explains that she was cooking for her, noticing that she's really tired from a double shift. Hearing this, Danche realizes she's right and mentions she'll go for a shower instead. However, before she heads to the bathroom, Violetka asks her what she saw in Caramba. Danche then turns to her, admitting that she was lonely before and Caramba made her laugh all the time. This prompts Violetka to share about her past husband, who once told her that he couldn't wait to pass away so he could stop seeing her face. Hearing the woman's story, Danche approaches her and puts her mother's necklace back on. They share a kiss and hug, making them even closer. When Caramba arrives home that night, he finds Danche and Violetka unclothed. Seeing her husband, Danche points a handgun at him, jokingly telling him to drop the K-Mac. Meanwhile, Eva catches Dosta drinking wine, leading her to take the glass from her hand. However, the stubborn teenager only grabs the liquor bottle and drinks from it instead. Seeing this, the annoyed Eva is left with no choice but to take the bottle as well, reminding her that it's bad for the baby. The next morning, after removing the clothes from the line, Violetka spots a feather on the ground. She blows on it and laughs upon seeing it make its way to the wealthy couple's balcony. That night, Dosta enters the room and takes advantage of Metodi, unaware that Eva knows what she is doing. The next morning, Caramba and Danche contact Samantha, introducing her to Violetka as Danche's cousin. Months later, after Dosta gives birth to his son, Eva invites her friends over to show the baby, falsely claiming that it's hers and she delivered it naturally in the bathtub. Meanwhile, the real mother's in the bedroom watching TV while pumping milk for the infant. Soon, Uncle Bogdan arrives to see the baby. After Metodi tells him he's very happy with the child, Eva takes over and hands him another envelope of cash. After receiving the payment, Bogdan gives half the money to Dosta and takes her home. Despite receiving a television set as a gift, the teenager is sad about being separated from her son. Arriving home from the market, Danche takes a shower and makes love to Violetka while Caramba's on the other side of the bed, aware of what they're doing. That evening, Eva wakes up to the sound of their crying adopted son and finds Metodi trying to calm him. The next morning, the baby is still crying because it's separated from its real mother. Though Eva holds it for a while, she quickly hands it over to Metodi so she can leave for work. Because of his wife's actions, Metodi is slightly disappointed because he thought that they'll take care of the child together. That evening, their adopted son continues to cry, causing the couple to lose sleep. During a presentation the next morning, Eva suddenly freezes upon hearing a crying baby, prompting her to accidentally urinate in front of her audience. Because of the embarrassment, she refuses to go to work for a while and prefers to stay in bed. Unable to handle everything, Metodi drives back to Eva's hometown to invite Dosta back to the city. He tells her they made a mistake separating her from the baby. When Metodi asks how he can make it up to her, Dosta says she wants to drive his Audi. With no choice, Metodi agrees. However, while they're in the car, she satisfies him again. Meanwhile, Caramba arrives home from the market with flowers to surprise the ladies. He then looks at the gap between the door, catching the unclothed women painting each other's nails. Violetka then informs Danche that she's been exploring Tinder because of her niece's suggestion and recommends she does the same. Suddenly, an unclothed Caramba interrupts them with flowers, but Danche just closes the door, making him feel rejected. That evening, Dosta returns to the city and reunites with the baby, who finally stops crying. Witnessing the reunion, Eva finds herself in tears, prompting her to take a cig again. Meanwhile, feeling isolated, Caramba finishes his brandy in the dining room. He also uses his gun as a spoon to eat the K-Mac. Following this, he irons his clothes. Later, Dosta sees Eva holding the baby and tries to take it from her, but Eva refuses to hand it over immediately. To convince his wife, Metodi reminds her that the baby needs to eat. Caramba then tries to enter the bedroom again but sees a red brassiere on the door handle, leading him to feel more rejected. As Dosta feeds the infant, Eva heads to the balcony to take a cig break. There, she spots the feather and blows it, making its way down to Caramba, who's thinking of ending his life with a gun. When he's about to do it, Caramba notices that Eva's looking at him from her balcony, prompting him to turn around. Soon, everyone hears a gunshot. Dosta and Metodi choose to ignore it while Danche and Violetka exit the house to check where the sound came from. Upon discovering that Caramba shot himself, Danche immediately calls for an ambulance. In the hospital, Violetka comforts Danche, who blames herself for what happened. Suddenly, the doctor doctor interrupts, saying that Caramba's brain was missed and the bullet exited through his cheek, meaning he's alive. Relieved, the couple celebrates. Meanwhile, Metodi contacts Kirill to tell him the truth about the baby. After this, he calls Eva for dinner. However, Dosta comments that the woman is napping on the balcony. When his wife still doesn't respond, Metodi approaches her only to discover that she passed away due to a shot on her face. When Danche and Violetka arrive home, they find the cops investigating the apartment building. When an officer asks if she lives there, Danche denies it to avoid getting involved in her husband's trouble. After the incident, Dosta tries to comfort Metodi with their son. Meanwhile, Danche plots to escape the city with Violetka. As they wait at the stoplight, the women laugh about how Caramba missed himself, leading them to share a passionate kiss.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.